My peoples, good morning and happy Tuesday. It is Papaziti here, and we've got some kill confirmed on Aftermath. Nobody likes this map, but you never see it in any other commentaries, so I figured I'd put it up there. Obviously, I did pretty well, or you wouldn't be seeing it here. But because it's such a big map, because it tends to be a little bit slower paced, I am once again going to make liberal use of the fast forward function in my editing suite. Woo! So you'll see a lot of fast forwarding here. But I'm using this setup that is pretty dirty, and there's some bad aim, and I should have stuck with my trusty first gun, but I did not. So I've got the PDW with extended mags, long barrel, and FMJ, I believe. Yeah, so pretty dirty. I got the primary gunfighter perk, or wildcard perk, and also the first tier perk wildcard. So pretty naughty setup. You notice I have no equipment at all. So, you know, I'm a little, it's you know, you got to balance things out. I don't have any equipment, but I've got a gun that's pretty much an LMG, but it's an SMG. I don't know. Try it out. It's definitely a pretty brutal combination, and obviously the score streaks, UAV, paper airplane, and the lightning strike, and my lust for gold tags got me killed right there. But let's just get in right to the topic at hand, and we're kind of talking about trust, and especially trust in the media. And you guys are going to have to excuse me a little bit. I think I got that bubonic plague that's going around, but it's not stopping me from getting a triple kill. Oh yeah, and then gobbling up those tags, and then take that. I like using the Hunter Killer almost as a like RPG, because it's pretty naughty if you just throw it right at somebody that's coming towards you. And this is a nice little sequence right here. Getting it done and getting those tags. Anyway, all right. So again, excuse me for my voice to some degree, and I've got a lot of snot going on. So we'll see what happens with this. I'll give you an update later in the week. But we're talking about trust. And I trust that that guy's going to be laying down for the rest of this match, so I'm going to keep an eye out for that. But we're talking about trust in the media. And a story came out last week that kind of got some legs to it again on Monday. And what I'm talking about is the Consumer Electronics show that just wrapped up out in Vegas, and CNet. CNet is, well, up until last week, one of the most trusted online sources for tech reviews and tech news type stuff. And each year after the computer electronics show, they award their kind of like best in show. They give an award for what they think was the coolest product that they saw there. Now, they had already voted and were going to make the announcement when their parent company stepped in and said no. No, you are not allowed to give the top award to the company and the device that you were going to give it to. So what was the device? Well, the device was Dish Network's Hopper DVR. Dish Network is one of the leading, I think it's second over here in the States to satellite television and satellite internet. And their new DVR that they have coming out has a function to it that basically allows you to, while you're recording, it allows it to skip any ads that show up in, you know, your TV show or whatever it is that you're recording that might have ads. So it does that automatically for you. So no more are the heady days of actually having to hit the fast forward button on your DVR remote control. This thing was just going to do it for you. And the people at Dish liken this feature to, you know, using the fast forward button manually, or like one of the executives at Dish said, you know, like back in the day when you used to get up and just go refill your chip bowl during commercials. So it just kind of automates a feature that Dish executives are saying have been around since the advent of TV and TV advertising. Certainly since DVRs have come out and you're, you know, just manually hitting the fast forward button after you record a show, that, you know, to skip all the commercials. So who is CNet's parent company? Well, back in 2008, the founders of CNet sold. They sold to CBS, which here in the States is one of the big four television networks. And you can see where that conflict of interest kind of rears its ugly head. CBS, obviously, and NBC, and ABC, and Fox, the other three major networks here in the States, don't like DVRs, especially DVRs that automatically skip automatically skip ads, and ad revenue is what makes the TV world go round. So what this has done to CNet now is completely destroyed their credibility. And on Monday, one of their senior writers quit because when this story first kind of broke last week at the end of the expo, CNet's editors kind of characterized it as not entirely true, as not entirely what exactly went down. Them having already voted for this thing, and then their parent company CBS coming in and saying, no, you can't give that award. And when you've got media conglomerates like this, big companies that buy up a lot of media, and this stuff starts to happen, and right here I'm just in such a pickle. I know that there's no way. I've got guys coming on each side of me, and that's about all I'm going to be able to do. But it completely erodes the public's trust in news, and it doesn't sound initially like it's that big of a deal, but when you really start to think about it, all major news, all major media are owned by these bigger, giant corporations that have a lot of stakes and a lot of other different things. And when you see something like this happen, it begs you ask that you ask the question of, well, what else? What else is being kept from us? And it's very scary when media that we're supposed to trust does shit like this. And that's some awareness right there. I don't need the awareness perk. I got awareness for days. I don't need that perk. So guys, let me know in the comments section what your thoughts are about this. And what else do you think maybe is out there that we're not being told or being told that isn't necessarily in our best interests? I can think off the top of my head what's going on in Iceland. And maybe we'll talk about that in another video. Until then, guys, this is Papaziti saying have a great Tuesday. I will see you next time. 44-5 with 36 confirms. What? Peace.